Hi, my name is John Sakowitz, and we're introducing a new show today. Today is our first show. I'm here with Jay Johnson. Hi, Jay.
Hey John, how you doing?
Good. I'll let you introduce yourself in a second. Let me introduce myself first, and come to the show, and then you can do the bit on yourself. Uh, as I said, my name is John Sakowitz, and I've been working on Wall Street for 29 years. Been involved. Either working on the floor of the exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange. I worked for Spear Leeds Kellogg. On the floor of the COMEX, I worked for Merrill Lynch on the New York Mercantile. I worked for Merrill Lynch as well. In the mid 1980s, I got kind of promoted off the floor to upstairs trading positions and eventually sales positions. I was the national sales manager for futures and commodities at Dean Witter, Morgan Stanley. I've also started a hedge fund in 1988, Battle Mountain Research Group, uh, which I sold. I sold my partnership interest in February of 2005. At that time, had about $4 billion under management. Um, I've sort of come out of semi-retirement because there have been a lot of disturbing developments on Wall Street that I think beg reform. Uh, Lately, most recently, I've been contributing editor at the North Bay Bohemian, which is published out of Santa Rosa. Uh, I have a wonderful editor there, Gretchen Giles. She makes me the man that I am, at least on paper. She's just a wonderful writer, and my articles have the ability to be syndicated to the 130 newspapers that are part of the Alternative Weeklies press, so they get a lot of play. Uh, Additionally, it would seem that the small army of Bear Stearns employees have found my articles, and so I have something on the order of several hundred to maybe a few thousand ex-Bear people who are taking my articles and getting them into the powers that be, either on Wall Street or in Congress. Basically, my articles are calls for reform. Uh, Most recently, in New York, Tim Gertner, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, convened a meeting this Tuesday reforming an area called swaps and derivatives, which is a $50 trillion unregulated market. And I have it on good authority that my article was actually circulated at that meeting. Um, Also, this week we had two very important meetings, very seminal meetings of the Senate Banking Committee. That's Chris Dodd's committee, Democratic of New York, and the Senate Subcommittee for Investments, Securities, and Insurance, and that's chaired by Democrat Jack Reed from Rhode Island. And again, many of the areas where I've been calling for reform have found its way into some of the testimony given at those committee meetings. On this show, we look to discuss very many of those same reforms, but more importantly, we look to give you the information that a lot of Wall Street insiders have. Knowledge is power. That's axiomatic. And here at Community Radio, in so many ways, in so many places, over such a long period of time, public radio has been empowering people by giving them information. So on this show, we hope to have me as a Wall Street insider, and with our guests, other Wall Street insiders, and with my co-host, Jay Johnson, who is an industry insider in the media industry, bring to you the information that you need to take more control over your personal finances, and in a larger context, also to join us in a call for reform. Jay, let me have you introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Jay Johnson. I met John about 2 weeks ago, and we started talking, and we're kind of kindred spirits on a lot of issues. And so we decided to do this talk show about money. My background is in the computer industry and the media industry. For about 5 years, up until about 2000, until the dot-com bubble and such. I worked for George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic as a senior technology manager, and was exposed to stock options at that time, and kind of got interested in the whole world of finance, and what do these stock options mean that I got at this great huge company that I work for, and went through that and started investing fairly heavily, and learned a lot about the system. After 9/11, reevaluated my life and decided to move back to Ukiah, which is my wife's hometown, to raise our family. I have 4 children, and we decided that we needed a nice environment to raise our kids in. So we moved here, and I took the Director of Information Technology position at the County of Mendocino, which is another reason that I'm here with John today, because later on we'll be talking to Tim Knutson, who is the retirement manager for the retirement system at the County of Mendocino. So I have some insights into a lot of different areas, and my latest endeavor is, as well as the Johnson IT Group, which is a technical consulting group, working and building UkiahValley.tv, which is a website that is providing all the information about Board of Supervisors meetings, City Council meetings, community events, video production services, and those kind of things, and looking to collaborate here with the media community, such as KZYX, to bring this information and information about government and money and how it all works to the public here. So I think we're going to go today and start talking, John.
Jay, I'm very pleased to have you. My worst fear about myself is that I'm kind of an idiot savant. I'm I was at a recent retirement board meeting, as I'm sure Tim Knutson will mention, and I started talking about swaps and derivatives, and Tim said, "Hey, this is way over everybody's head." My greatest fear about myself is like I'm a brain surgeon trying to explain a headache to somebody, and I really look to you to translate a lot of what the message I want to get across to our listening audience.
And I'm that way with technology, so I kind of step back and look at that, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right. Well, when we have your technology show, I'll be the co-host. All right.
Great.
Yeah, I'm that guy who could play Mozart, at 6 years old, but can't tie his shoes at 60.
Right.
I'm that guy. The format of our show will basically be to every week, once we get on a regular schedule, is to do a market recap for the week. To look at what happened in the preceding week and to try to make some sense of it. As many of you know, core inflation is kicking in. You're paying more at the gas pump. You're paying a lot more for food. There are a lot of other indicators that are kicking in right now. The dollar is collapsing. We've seen huge blow-offs in the stock market both last Friday and one day this week. 2-day treasuries had their biggest one-day jump in yields earlier this week. Has very serious implications for the market. So at some point in every show, we will do a market recap of the previous week and try to make some sense out of it, particularly as it relates to your personal finances. We will be also covering some issues as they relate to portfolio management, things like portfolio insurance and how to pick an investment advisor, and et cetera. We will also plan on having interesting guests on every show, people who can speak to their areas of expertise. Before I get to our first guest, Olivia Meldon, who is the author of the Investors. Let me read it here. I had it here. The Investors. It's the Investors.